what you gonna do? Every time I switch it up.
Hey guys, Ollie here. So like many of you, I spent most of 2020 just working from my bedroom. It was fine at first, it was comfortable, but being so close to my bed and being in the comfort of my own home does have its drawbacks. So at the end of 2020, I began thinking about starting a YouTube channel, and I wanted to have a place where I can talk about all the things I'm interested in. There's books, filmmaking, and everything in between. Naturally, I began looking around me to see where I could have a place to film. First, I looked at my house, my bedroom, and it was too small and not the most ideal place, especially being surrounded by family and so much noise. So I needed somewhere that was quiet, but also a place where I can kind of decorate and start from scratch and really make my dream kind of setup. So it just happened that my dad had a spare office that he wasn't using, and it was completely filled with junk. I'm talking about, it was a lot of auto parts, storage, anything that they didn't want to look at, they would put in this one room. So me and my cousin decided to spend a weekend and just clean it all out. So to start off with, we weren't too happy with the wood panel on the wall. So we started looking at wallpapers, possibly painting the wood panels. And then one day I just happened to knock on the wall behind me, and I realized there was a brick back there. So I asked my dad, hey, is there a brick behind those panels? And he says, yeah. So with his permission, me and my friend started taking down the panels one by one until we were left with just the bare naked wall. To the hardware store to get some sandpaper for the wall. Alright, so we found this bunch. Now it's time to go paint. And the color was okay. It was kind of like a old white that obviously hasn't been touched in years, kind of dirty. And in my mind, I really wanted like a dark, contrasty studio setup. So we decided to paint it matte black, and that was super fun. I've always wanted to have like a super dramatic, dark, contrasty place, and matte black was the perfect color. So I went down the street to Sherwin-Williams, got myself the darkest color they had, made sure it was matte, got here, and we got to painting, and we were having a blast. Alright, so that's one coat done. We're going to give it some time to dry, and we'll do another coat in just a little bit. While we were painting, I knew that the ground needed some color. So I got this cool rug from Wayfair.com that was black, red, had a cool pattern to it, and I thought it would be the perfect thing to set a cool vibe. So we put it in.
The size of a blueberry, the blueberry I love.
After the painting was done, the rug installed, my cousin and I took a nice trip to everyone's favorite maze, IKEA. We had a couple objectives when we went to IKEA. 1, find some cool art for the wall. 2, maybe get some shelves. 3, possibly a plant or 2 just for some greenery. Happy to say, all 3 objectives were complete, and this is what we got. And I really love this painting because when you get in here, it just has this like art vibe. It makes you want to sit and create and just kind of vibe out and create some cool content. I just love how it looks in here. I got this little cool ball and those letters from Tuesday Morning. They fell one day and they cracked, but I don't care. We tried to salvage them with a little DIY. And I kind of like that they're cracked because it gives them a little bit of story and character. And who brought this globe?
I don't know, but it's here now, so we might as well use it.
Alright, after all that was done, next up was to bring in the cinematic aspect, my gear. First up, we got the 3-light kit by GVM, the 800D, the RGB lights. I love these because that's what's lighting me right now, and I can change them to any color. And they always look great, they make me pop off the background, and I can change the wall colors in the back to anything I want as well. Next up is the audio, which is the Rode VideoMic NTG. It plugs in directly to my camera, and that's what's supplying the audio right now. I can also plug it into my computer and use it as a USB mic for Zoom calls, or even voiceover work. Up next is the camera, and this is the Panasonic GH4. I've had this camera for years now, and the back screen is cracked, so I had to use an external monitor. I have one lens with it because all my other lenses are in LA in my storage, so it'll have to do. And I've had it for so long, it's gone with me everywhere on so many shoots. I've shot weddings all over the US with it, and I just love the look and image. It shoots 4K, I love the colors. The focus is terrible, but I'm just sitting down here, so I don't need, continuous autofocus. It gets the job done, and I don't need to upgrade. Every few months we're getting new camera upgrades, and they're so tempting to drop money on, but use the tools you have. The best camera for the job is the one that you happen to have on you, and that's the one that I happen to have with me here. So here we go. It's staying. I love you, my GH4. We have history, baby. Off to the side, I have a little bookshelf and a charging station. This is where I keep some books that I like to read in my downtime when I'm not working my day job or making YouTube videos. And it's just a cool area that anyone who comes and visits the studio can pick up a book, sit down, and kind of browse through and reading. There's Stoic philosophy, the psychology, filmmaking books, history, and people have started to bring in their own stuff they'd like to keep here so that when they visit, they have something to read. And the library is kind of building on its own organically, and it's been really beautiful. My cousin behind the camera is a book lover as well, and he likes to bring in his own books too. What's your favorite?
So one of the books that I really enjoyed and I thought it would be a great addition to the studio was Man's Search for Meaning.
So my cousin's favorite book that he's brought in is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Definitely one of my favorite books of all time. If you haven't read it, do yourself a favor and look it up. It'll inspire you, it'll give you a new outlook on life, and it's just so beautifully written about a man in a situation that is so dark and so dreadful, yet he's happened to make it out and write this incredible book for us. So I highly recommend that. Right here behind me, this little light, I found on sale for 20 bucks from Lowe's. It happened to be a clearance sale going on when I was visiting looking for paint, so I had grabbed it, brought it in, and it's lighting up the background on my right side, your left. I got confused for a second. I also have a tree that I found just lying around at the shop, and behind that we got a little lamp from IKEA while we were there, and I just use that for ambient lighting in the room while I'm working. So one thing I learned about throughout the making of this whole studio space is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be so polished as you see kind of on other YouTube channels or anything like that. It doesn't have to be the most expensive. It doesn't have to be the latest and greatest. It can be cracked letters. It can be borrowed globes and tables and couches. It could be borrowed offices that you use after hours, after the business is closed. In other words, it's not about resources. It's about resourcefulness and making the most of what you have around you. And I love how everything here kind of has a character and an origin story with a little bit of paint, some old gear that I have lying around, and some cool things I borrowed from people. We have a really cool space to call our own. So that's it for my studio setup. I hope you liked it. It's simple, it's dramatic, it's dark, it's everything that I want. It has the lighting that I want. It's my perfect little getaway to kind of get away from my room, get away from the house, from the noise. Just come here, either read a book or chill out, listen to music, or create videos like this. I hope you like it, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.